Just watch your back, Commander. Things go bad on this mission, you're next on their chopping block.
Captain Anderson should be the one in charge. It's like I'm stealing the ship from him.
Yeah, the captain got screwed. But it's not like you could have stopped it. Nobody's blaming you. Everyone on this ship's behind you, Commander. 100%. Intercom's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew, now's the time.
This is Commander Shepard speaking.
We have our orders. Find Saren before he finds the conduit. I won't lie to you, crew. This mission isn't going to be easy.
For too long, our species has stood apart from the others.
Now it's time for us to step up and do our part for the rest of the galaxy. Time to show them what humans are made of.
Our enemy knows we're coming.
When we go into the Traverse, Saren's followers will be waiting for us. But we'll be ready for them, too.
Humanity needs to do this.
Not just for our own sake, but for the sake of every other species in Citadel space. Saren must be stopped. And I promise you all, we will stop him.
Well said, Commander. Captain will be proud.
The captain gave up everything so I could have this chance. We can't fail.
Yes, sir.
Okay, welcome back to Star Trek Mass Effect. I'm your host, Frosty8536, and as you can see, we're about to leave the Citadel and go on our merry way into the galaxy. We've just done our mandatory inspirational speech, and now all we need to do is move on to the galaxy. I think what we're going to do first is we're just going to interact with our crewmen.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
We're all on the same team here, Presley.
With all due respect, sir, that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. But don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were at Elysium during the Skillian Blitz. A massive fleet of alien raiders hit the colony, trying to wipe it out. They had the numbers, but their ships were no match for an Alliance frigate. It was a slaughter. We couldn't even keep track of how many ships they lost.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as I interact with other people, it all goes to assisting with my Paragon points. So the more
Commander,
Paragon points that I have,
something you need?
or Renegade points, it helps.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet, if you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
I'm sorry, Joker. I didn't even know you were sick.
You mean you didn't know? Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic, but I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you like the sound of snapping shin bone.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
You're dodging the question.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
I need to know more about this Vrolik syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures, hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you want, Commander.
How'd you end up joining the Alliance?
Look, if you're looking for an inspirational tale of the crippled kid overcoming impossible odds, you're gonna be disappointed. My mother was a civilian contractor working for the Alliance. I basically grew up on the Arcturus station back when they were building up the fleets. Spend all that time around Alliance ships, there's a good chance you'll end up going to the Academy.
I have to go.
Alright, see ya.
So this brittle bone disease is quite interesting. It's amazing how medicine can actually help people. So yeah, it's interesting to find out about the different characters in this universe. Joker being one of them. Something tells me that I'm going to be speaking to Joker quite a lot, but it's good. I need to build up not only my Paragon or Renegade points, but everything else. Caden.
Anything you need, Commander?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
I don't see how we could have done things any better. At least not without getting to Eden Prime sooner. And we were on the scene faster than any other Alliance ship could have been.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough of your time for now, Commander. We'll have time for personal debriefings later.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
Now this part of here should be where the escape pods are. Looks like escape pods. Not too many of them actually. I wonder what those things really are. Can't be the escape pods. Anyway, so now we're gonna go down to the next floor. This is where most of my crew will be staying, with the exception of Caden and maybe one or other. But yeah, there is Ashley, Garrus, and
Hey,
random
Commander.
guy.
Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance. I have to purchase it myself, and it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
What do the different manufacturers offer?
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
Not right now, thanks.
No problem. Keep checking back.
Okay. My own personal marketplace. So I just need to find licenses
Thanks
for
for
different
bringing
weapons.
me on board, Commander. I knew working with a Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with a Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
For the most part, the rules are there for a reason.
Maybe. But sometimes it feels like the rules are only there to stop me from doing my work. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it. But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this. And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
If getting the job done means endangering innocent people, then no. We get the job done right, not fast. Got it?
I wasn't trying to. I understand, Commander.
Good. Put Garrus in his place. We don't want a loose cannon going around. Okay, so this seems to be the locker room. Or the lockers, so I can trade out, put in weapons that'll work for me. Specifically for Caden, then there's Rex, and I'm sure Marwan's somewhere around there.
Commander?
Ashley.
Do you have a few minutes to talk one-on-one?
I'm sorry, Commander. I need to get my duties squared away. I wouldn't mind talking more later, though.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Kinda wish you'd got there sooner, Commander. No offense, I appreciate the rescue. I just wish...
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit?
Yes, sir. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
The Geth are perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
Sir, they have flashlight heads. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Dismissed, Chief.
Sir.
Okay, not as personal as I thought she'd be, but that's fine. Rex.
Nice ship you've got, Shepard. What can I do for you?
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
You Krogan lived for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
I heard about that. You know, they
what
almost did the
sarcasm.
same to us.
It's not the same.
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Sorry, Rex. I wasn't trying to get you upset.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Okay, so seems to be a bit of animosity between the Turians and the Krogan, probably because of that that disease that the Turians put them under. I certainly hope.
Hey, Commander, you know that
there's more
Quarian
information
Tally?
about it.
She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tally, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Fill me in on the IES stealth systems. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation, too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day. But you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Why doesn't it work with faster-than-light travel?
Cranking up to FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Okay, Adams.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
The Normandy's a prototype. Cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla. Grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials.
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins, what they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
How come the Council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. A million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
So, the Geth share brain power?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
So there's some sort of group consciousness.
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers. As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
I don't see what's so bad about those questions.
The Geth were created to engage in mundane, repetitive, or dangerous manual labor. That's fine for machines, but it won't satisfy a sentient being for long. The Geth were showing signs of rudimentary self-awareness and independent thought. If the Geth were intelligent, then we were essentially using them as slaves. It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
You can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
It's hard to feel sorry for you. Your ancestors tried to wipe out another species.
We made a mistake when we created the Geth in the first place, but we did not make a mistake when we went to war against them. If we had not acted, they would have wiped us out. They're a synthetic life form. They have no use for organics. None. Why do you think they cut themselves off from the rest of the galaxy? Why do you think they've killed every organic being who's ever tried to contact them?
I didn't mean to offend you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get so worked up. Most Quarians tend to have pretty strong opinions about the Geth.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society. Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I should go.
See you later.
Okay, and it also looks like the Quarians also have a bit of history with the Geth, and it's quite an interesting history where the Quarians actually made the Geth, and sort of the Geth found self-awareness, very similar to, you know, like some of the movies that we have out there about our machines also achieving sort of artificial intelligence. And that always, I don't know, movies depict it as it being a bad thing, as in the artificial intelligence actually taking over. I mean, there's always a chance of that, but still. Doesn't necessarily happen. Okay, so this looks like the meeting place for our team. I like it. But I think it's time that we start making our moves. So let's get to the star map and doing our thing. But before we do, okay, see the Paragon points have gone up a little bit, I see. Not bad at all. Okay, and now let's assign these points. So each ability point gives us one of those, and eventually we'll get to a point where we learn something new, like shield or an attribute increase, like shield boost and all of that. So very RPG in the way that you can level up your character, but you decide how your character is leveled up, which is actually quite nice. So I'm going to try and equally distribute everything just to give myself a well-rounded soldier. Gonna probably do the same thing with all my team members as well, when it's time for me to assign it. But I might just auto assign theirs. Okay, so I've added some assault rifle, combat armor, assault training, charm. I think the charm is going to be very important because we need to try and get more Paragon points, and hopefully this will help. We do not want to intimidate. Okay, so up to maximum at the moment. I think our ability points do increase after a while, but it all depends. Okay, now you'll see that some of them are grayed out. I think the reason for that is that if you take a look at like assault rifle, I'll eventually get to a point where sniper rifles are eventually available for me to upgrade, but not now until I add my upgrades to assault rifles. Same thing with combat armor and first aid, and assault training and fitness. So once I get to a specific point over there, the one below is available for me. So I'm going to leave it as is, and maybe put some cosmetic look on my shepherd, having a helmet. I don't really like the helmet, so okay. So next time I level up, I'm going to probably add some more stuff to pistols as well. Alright, now time to look at equipment. You can see that I can change my equipment now. Let's see. So damage per second. So guns are divided into specific sections, such as damage per second, weapons capacity, and accuracy. I think accuracy is going to be very important, especially if I'm going to do long range. I want my gun to be able to hit at long distances. So that's my shotgun. Accuracy is quite good, but the damage is low, and weapons capacity is also quite low. However, we can upgrade, it looks like. So what I have now is the Avenger, and then there are other sniper rifles that I can use, either the Reaper, the Hammer, the Reaper 2. Okay, so I have changed up my sniper rifle. When it comes to armor, there's only really one armor that I can equip. You can see, okay, the other thing that you can see is that on the left hand side you'll see it's all in the green, and then the ones on the right are different colors. The yellow represents an increase if I have to equip it. So if it was 130 and it was yellow, it means that would be more than 130. If it's in the red, it means that it will be actually at a deficit, which means that it would be, for example, handling would be less if I went for a new gun. Anyway, so there's a write-up about the Citadel. If you have the time, you can pause this and have a look at what it says about the Citadel, but we're not very interested about that. What we want to do is we want to leave the Citadel and start getting about our business. Okay, so it's on the Widow Nebula. Nothing else in this nebula, the Serpent Nebula actually. So this is where we are in the galaxy, and we want to go to the dig site, and that is our way that we're going to be going. Okay, and in the Artemis Tower cluster you'll see that there are 4 locations that we can get to. So we're going to start with the Sparta star system. What a beaut. Maglocks have been released. Put ourselves in reverse, and off we go. Now those gigantic pitchforks that you see over there are the Mass Effect relays. Now those relays allow us to travel faster than light, basically, which will get us to these different places. So now we're in the Sparta star system. You'll notice that we can actually locate different things. Like we've just noticed something in the asteroid cluster. So we're taking a look at it, and we're going to survey. And it looks like there was a Prothean data disk, or data disk, depending on your your pronunciation of the word. I'm South African, so it's data. Alright, so let's go to Tremanre. Okay. Nothing over here to survey, so we're just gathering information, which I think is very important. The more we gather, the more information we'll see. Okay. Right, the Altair. Also nothing over here.
Commander, I'm picking up a signal from the planet's surface. It looks like an automated distress beacon.
The Aeolus. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I think we're going to land here, and we're going to find out what distress signal this is. Okay, now we're going to choose our team. I think for this team over here, we're going to be choosing Garrus and Caden. They're pretty much balanced. Okay, now each squad member has a certain proficiency, such as biotics, technical skills, and what is the red one? Okay, so technical skills, like Tali would be quite good at the technical stuff. Biotic would be your would be the purple, which is basically your type of, like, you know, the biotics, the what do you call it, psionic part of it. Anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later. So you can see we have a 6-wheeler rover that will allow us to move around. So all we have to do is move around, and you can see that it's all terrain. Some people like this part of the game. I do. But one has to be very careful about what we find. So there's the distress beacon coming up. We just need to make sure that we are okay. Okay, there it is. Thresher Maw. Now, Thresher Maws are those things that you want to be careful of. We want to fight. The MAKO is not used to this kind of damage, so we need to move around and make sure that we don't get attacked. As you can see, Thresher Maw is now gone. So there's no use in firing. Now the firing of the MAKO is also the same thing. Has heat clips. Also good, interesting to see that the MAKO can also like be maintained and repaired on the fly. Shields also are a thing, so we need to make sure that Thresher Maw doesn't eat through our shields so quickly. So this is our battle, guys. This is our fight. Okay, we need to be quite cool about this. Hopefully we can get close enough. And then we need to fire our missiles. I don't think shooting our guns is going to be a good idea. There it is. Fire. overheating. Did we get it? Oh no. Okay, so our first battle didn't go very well. Mission failure, so we're going to try that again. That's the nice thing about games, that, you know, games these days, you don't have to, like, you know, consider it a game over. It's just a mission failure, so all you have to do is retry it. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to retry this mission and take on this Thresher Maw. So now we're going to have to drive all the way back. See, that's the missile. That is the missile that we should be using against the Thresher Maw. So hopefully this time we'll have a better time with it if we play our cards right. It seems that the Thresher Maw doesn't have shielding like we do, which is fine. One thing to note though is that our missile turret fires one and then it takes a bit of a time to reload the next one, which is fine. Just waiting for this to go. There we go. And all we need to do is get attacked again. Alright, so we're getting an idea of how to deal with these Thresher Maws. Definitely don't want to give up. Don't want to quit. So we're going to try it again. And we're going to do it until we get it right, guys. Very important. Bit intimidating for our first mission. I must admit. But you know what? Where there's a will, there's a way. And we'll make it. I must admit this MAKO is very hard to control, even though it is all terrain. I think we tried the close-up approach, didn't work, so I think this time what we're going to do is we'll take the long distance approach. And then those tendrils came up. Okay, and then we use triangle to repair the MAKO. Okay, let's do it that way. I like that idea. Maybe going backwards. And then heal up again. Although healing up all the time might not work out to our advantage, because it does take up a lot of... Oh, there we go. Okay. I think the tendrils as well might be the key behind defeating this Thresher Maw as well. There we go. Try shooting these things now. Okay. Alright, so we're going to do it one step at a time, guys. No rush. No rush at all. Okay. Alright, so if we do a hit and run all the time, that might actually work. Hopefully the Thresher Maw isn't healing up at the same time, because that will definitely not work to our advantage. Okay. Strategy. Looks like those tendrils are also the key for the health of this Thresher Maw. Oh, and again. All right. Okay, we're getting an idea. We're getting a thing behind this. Okay, so we're gonna resume again. We're not gonna give up, ladies and gentlemen. It matters not how often we're gonna do this. We're gonna get this done before the end of this episode. And what a reward it's gonna be once we do it. Taking a break. Okay, so our strategy that we're going to do is it needs to be a hit and run. But I also think that those tentacles are going to assist us with taking this Thresher Maw down, you know, as quickly as possible. So our plan will be that we need to duck and dive, and I think we can do it. We just need to be careful that we don't run into the Thresher Maw. We need to keep our distance. Keeping distance is going to be our biggest our biggest advantage in this one. Use our long range attacks. Listen to me speaking all strategic like. Okay, it's go time, guys. Alright, so we have our strategy, we have our plan. This time we're going to make use of it. We're going to use the MAKO's ability to move around. And our ability to try and make use of its driving capabilities, because flip. Driving around with this six-wheeler is, you know, not as easy as it sounds. Okay. You're gonna have to be closer. Whoa. There we go. Okay, it looks like the tendrils did want to come out over there. Okay, we're gonna have to face. I think the tentacles will be our positive. Just to get over this. There we go. Too far away. Oh, it's working. Okay. Okay, it's working. Oh. Okay. Healing up the MAKO again. Okay, it's working, guys. It's working. I think we might need to heal up one more time before we attempt our final run through that. I'm quite positive that we're going to do it this time, guys. Alright. Let's do it. And there we go, guys. We've made it. We got through. There we go. Alright, guys, with that victory, I think the episode is nearing its end. We're going to find out what's going on over here. It looks like there are quite a few things that are... Oh, we could have jumped. That would have made a good idea. We're just going to dismount the MAKO, and once we do that we can see what's going on over here. But that'll be in our next episode. So guys, I just want to let you know, thank you for all your support, and until next time, guys, take care of yourselves and each other.